It's K97.5, real hip hop and R&B. I am that girl, RoyalTea, Big T, not the little one. And today I got a real special guest in the building. I got the queen with me, Queen Sheba. How you doing?
What up, Doe? What's up to everybody? What's up to the Triangle? How are y'all doing? I appreciate you having me and helping me introduce myself to the Triangle. I'm very new here.
Oh.
Very new to Raleigh. I actually live right down the street.
Really?
I live literally, I don't know if everybody knows where y'all at, so I ain't gonna say, but I live down the street. I live on this street, down the street.
That's so crazy that you're right down the road and you're
right
just
down
now,
the road.
Just now making your way here.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my honor and pleasure.
I am so glad to have you. This is gonna be a real special show because you got royalty and you got the queen. I don't know something about that.
Hello. I feel like we need to go live and say something about that.
Exactly. Like this is gonna be the one right here. But for those who don't know, you are a Grammy-nominated poet, spoken word artist. Can you tell people a little bit about how you got started?
Yes, I got fired from Bank of America. Thank you, Bank of America, for firing me. I was a supervisor in recovery collections where we would call you and be like, yo, you need to give blood and sell your car and pay your credit card bill. And people would just hang up in our face like, no, click. So I started doing spoken word and I was living in Norfolk, Virginia at the time. I'm from Detroit, but I moved up here from Atlanta. But I met a few poets. Shout out to Dasana Hanu, and who lives here and is the king of poetry in the Triangle, in Durham especially. And he was like, yo, come down to the Triangle. So I started to know about Raleigh, Durham, and Cary way back then. And then it just kind of rippled from there. And I was like, hey, I guess I got fired from my job. I'm going to make this spoken word career work. So then I started going to New York and Philly and then overseas to London and then to Africa and then to Cuba and then all across to Alaska and the West Coast and Hawaii. And I've just been going for 23 years now.
Okay. And what do you really want people to get out of your pieces? And I know there's a lot there. You speak about women's issues, sexual assault, empowerment, all of those things. So this might be a really broad question.
No problem.
But what do you want people to get out of your work?
You just said it. I want people to get empowerment. When they leave me, if I do one poem or if I'm doing a whole set, I want you to feel like, you know what? I'm about to kick my boyfriend to the curb, or because you know what, he wasn't doing right anyway, or I'm about to kick my girlfriend to the curb because she wasn't doing right anyway, or you know what, I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to kick depression, anxiety, obesity, addiction to sugar, to alcohol, to gambling, to whatever. I mean, I want people to say, and look at themselves and say, you know what, what's one small thing that I can start to change and just better myself? And I'm not here to decide what that is for you, but I'm hoping that the vulnerability in my stories lets you know that you're not the only one dealing with it.
So with you just saying that you're enough, what do you think really helped you get to that point? I'm sorry if we're kind of reiterating what you just said.
That's fine. No, you're good.
Yeah, what helped that?
Because it's exhausting trying to keep up with something that let me see me. It was exhausting trying to keep up with something I'm not. Like I'm my social media. We were just talking about how I love Cardi B's personality, her language, her body.
Yeah.
I'm not in that tax bracket. I don't have that type of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For marketing, promotions, for body work, for what I'm enough. You know what I mean? And for and let me be clear, I've had body work, but I don't feel like that I have to keep up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. I'm making decisions because I want to make them for me. You know what I mean? And I'm not them.
Yeah.
Comparison is the thief of joy. Hello. Comparison is a thief of joy. So we can get motivation from people, right? But I just was like, yo, I'm enough the way I am. I can't, if the expectation, and I might have been putting that expectation on myself. Maybe my poetry, spoken word, comedy fans probably weren't even looking for that. I was like, oh, I gotta look. Why? I'm not even in the genres of the women that I'm idolizing. You know what I mean? I can get motivation from Oprah, from Cardi, from Megan, from Saweetie, because I do love hip hop. We were just talking about that. Yeah. I love hip hop. I'm a child of hip hop. All the 80s, 90s hip hop. But I'm not them. So I can just be Queen Sheba in my puffy skirts and my ponytails and my shaved head and then my body full of tattoos and my piercings. That's me. And I hope you love my edge.
Yeah.
And my thing is, when my album drops along with other people, when they drop around the same time, get them both. It's not one or the other. It's not a competition. Get them both. My album dropped the same time Kanye's did, my first album, a long time ago.
Oh wow!
And I was like, get them both, y'all. Like it's not, you have to get one or the other,
Right,
especially
either
with
or.
downloads now. Just download them both. You know. So I think that I'm hoping that the people who love me are open to diversity. Because I do hip hop, I do rock on my albums. My album's called A, You're Not Wrong, B, They're Not Either. There's hip hop,
like
there's
that.
rock, there's reggae, there's soul, there's all of that. And all of them have poems intertwined. And so if you change your mind and think of the poem as like 16 bars like a hip hop artist would, that's what I'm doing. And so I'm able to come rock a hip hop show, and I'm able to come do a soul jazz show. I'm able to come do your mama's brunch for your 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds. And I'm able to come do a club, you know, that K97 is doing on Thursday, Friday night.
Yeah.
So it's all of that. Man, y'all enough, people. So all of y'all young artists coming up, if you're in the poetry, spoken word, hip hop, live music, comedy, blogging, whatever, you're enough. And you don't have to twist people's arm to do something for you that you will pay for later.
And would you say getting that Grammy nomination, because you are Grammy nominated?
Hello?
Let's make sure we keep reiterating
Hello?
that.
Hashtag Grammy nominated.
Okay, period. But would you say that Grammy nomination really helped you just realize, like, yeah, I really am enough, simple and plain?
You know, I've always said that. Come on in. I always say that God does his/her their best to keep me humble, because I knew had I won the Grammy this year, because it just was 7 weeks ago. I knew that had I won that Grammy, I was like, all right, I'm retired, I'm good, straight. All right, no more albums. I'm just,
Yeah.
But God was like, you're gonna keep going. You're gonna keep going so that you can inspire other people to keep going. And I really, honestly, no cap, appreciate all of the stations on Radio 1 helping to introduce me to the Triangle, because now I'm able to reach out to people and say, hey, did you hear that segment? I can help you know how to submit to the Grammys. It is easier than y'all think. For anybody that's listening to this, it is a 3-step process.
Wow. You would think it's like a long, drawn-out thing. Gotta know people to know people.
Nope, not at all. You need 2 recommendations.
Oh, wow.
And $150. Now, let me be clear. Just because you get the 2 recommendations and submit them does not mean the Recording Academy may or may not choose you. You have to be in your genre or have a resume for 5 years. Okay. So you have to be a working hip-hop artist for 5 years. You have to be a working spoken word artist for 5 years. You have to be a working singer, songwriter, whatever, producer, whatever, and have accolades for 5 years. And then get the 2 recommendations, submit them, pay your $150 fee, and you're in there. Wow. And now you get to vote. You get to vote for me and for Cardi B. You get to vote for J. Cole and for your favorite rock artist. It's amazing. And then doors open up for you. Then you get invited to the chapter party. So because this is a triangle, you can either join the Atlanta chapter or the DC chapter, whichever one you want, or New York.
That's really interesting, because you don't hear a lot of people actually talk about the process of nominating themselves or nominating someone else for the Grammys. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
First of all.
Yeah.
So my next question, and I guess we'll kind of wrap up here, but what advice would you give to young girls, young women who want to like really step out there and use their craft and share it with the world, and that be what they do for a living?
For spoken word or hip hop or both? For whichever.
All of that.
So my biggest thing is when you get in front of people, you get an opportunity. Somebody gives you an opportunity. Say K97 is doing, I'm making this up, y'all. This ain't no real event. K97 is doing summer hip hop fest, blah, 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 right? And you all say, you know what? We're going to give such and such upcoming Raleigh, Durham, Triangle woman hip hop artist and spoken word artist an opportunity to open for whoever y'all big headliner is, right? What do you want to leave the audience with? How do you want to be remembered? That's your big shot. K97 is coming and saying, hey, you know, we're going to give you 3 minutes to open up for who knows. Yeah. You know, I don't want to say nobody because they like, oh, you about to have
like, wait a minute.
Big Bird, y'all, Big Bird. You about to open up for Big Bird at this made up festival that we just said. And then what do you want to leave them with? Do you want to be half naked showing your
Yeah.
Is that how you want people to remember you? Or do you want to leave the audience like, oh, that was amazing. That was good writing. That was good writing. She told us who she was. She was vulnerable, da, 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 da. And I'm not saying don't have bars.
Right.
Have bars. But also within your bars, let people know who you are so they remember you. Because look, they tricked us. You're not supposed to love it unless I'm half nude, nipples protruding through on the video
Right.
shoot. But you already know what I'm about. A self-sponsored headhunter. Red, black, and green on my medallion. A black fist on my afro pick. First rule, only fools Google the revolution. I tell these players the same as I tell these street hustlers. Your position's entry level. Fronting like you're an executive and you work in the mailroom. Getting FICA like Louima. Plunging in the bathroom. My record execs got the office with the window. Rebel music makes gangsters clap for a different reason. No hammers. No barrels, just applause and a reason to go home. And I can't lie and say I ain't thought about suicide, but if Jesus walks and the law runs marathons, kickbox your skeletons, plan to make better decisions, work smarter, play harder, let your children love their father, procreate, plant seeds like a garden, and pray to God they find peace and self-knowledge. Because you're not supposed to love yourself unless you wake up like the Simpsons, expecting everybody to hate Chris and end up like Bobby and Whitney. Take control like Dave put the Chappelle show on hold and chant Pharaoh, Pharaoh, tell the police to release the chokehold and let my people go.
Woo!
Bars, son.
That was Queen Sheba. Woo! I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that, but I'm glad you blessed us with it, okay?
Thank you so much. I mean, I had to do it. We on K97.5.
Had to. Well, look, please let the people know where they can find you, where they can keep following you, because, listen, you want to be tapped in with this woman. You want to be tapped in.
Thank you so much. It honestly is an honor for me to be here. I really appreciate you having me. And you can follow me on, or I don't like to say follow me. Please join my community.
Yes, I like that.
Join my community. All my social media is the Queen Sheba, THE, Queen like Queen, QUEEN, Sheba, SHEBA. The Queen Sheba. Instagram and TikTok are my favorite, but I am on all social medias. And please follow my production page, Poetry versus Hip Hop, because we will be bringing Poetry versus Hip Hop back to Durham very soon, probably this summer. So you want to stay tapped in.
You heard it here first, Queen Sheba. Okay, 97.5. Thank you for coming through. This was amazing.
Thank you, RoyalTea. Big T, not little T.
Big T, not the little one. Okay. All right, y'all. That's a wrap.